What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, and welcome to Lactic Acid. I am your host, Dominique Smith. Today, I have a certified baller, shot caller. She is the pride of Canada, doing big things on the track, off the track. She is consistent in the 800, just like the Florida heat and humidity. And if you've lived here for 24 hours, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Waffle House batter consistency. So you have to go visit there to get a chance to know what I'm talking about. Get the All-Star special, because you know that's how we rock. She is none other than the legend that is Mrs. Lindsey Butterworth. How are you doing, fam? Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I mean, we have to have the actual Canadian legend on the show. If not, like, what are we doing? So I've been popping this question, and I think I need to tweak it. So I'm going to tweak it a little bit by adding something to it. But I want you to answer this. Everybody has to answer this. No one can escape this first question. Let's just say, well, I have to tweak it because we just had the Grammys, but let's just say we're going to have the VMAs. And so let's say ABC, CBS came together along with Ben and Jerry and Frito-Lay. They said, y'all, there is this girl from Canada who is lighting up and is consistent as can be on the track. She is a big time baller, and we need to promote her awesomeness for the entire world to see. Oh, I'm sorry, Food Network was in this meeting as well. Let's just say they had dinner at Chick-fil-A or some crap like that. And they said, you know what? She would be good for the brand. She would be good for this world. The united front that we need will start with celebrating her awesomeness. So they're going to come up with a custom spring promotion to celebrate the awesome things that you do and have continued to do. So pretty much VMAs, so ABC has the theater stuff, and then CBS has the music. So they pretty much said, we're going to give her the option. She can either go to the biggest music awards, so the Grammys, even though it passed the Grammys, or, you know, ABC has the Oscars, they have the Tonys, they have all this other stuff, or she can be a guest there. So we will roll out the literal red carpet for her, and she could attend that event with any her favorite musician or an actor or actress of her choice. So that's part one of this promotion. Food Network comes in for part two. They say, yo, we got to get in this. We're not going to make her do a baking championship or a cooking championship. We have too many of those. It's all good. So what we want is she has to come up with either a custom made pizza, a custom burger, or if there's just a meal that she cannot live without, she needs to tell us. We're going to put that on every menu in Canada and the United States. Lastly, Ben and Jerry and Frito-Lay, they got into a fight because they really wanted that third one. So Ben and Jerry put the pause on whoever Frito-Lay was. But the fight centered around, she can either choose a custom ice cream, so 2 ice cream flavors for Ben and Jerry, and they will be combined into one, or Frito-Lay said, no, we want her to do a custom potato chip. So you have to choose between the ice cream and the chips. So what we need to know what award ceremony you're going to, whether it's on CBS, which is music, or ABC, which is, you know, the theater, and who are you bringing or who are you accompanying with musical artist or actor or actress. Food Network needs to know burger, pizza, or custom meal that you just can't live without. And then if you're doing ice cream, what 2 flavors? If you're doing chips, same thing.
Okay, that's a lot of things.
Yeah. We have to
I
celebrate your awesomeness, so it has to be a big promotion.
so hard. I think I would go to the music awards,
So the
um,
Grammys. Okay.
or the Grammys, right? Sorry. With it's so tough. I'm gonna say right now with Adele,
Okay. Oh, I like that.
and then I will say pizza.
Okay.
Um, do I have to come up with the exact kind?
Yeah, it's whatever you want on this
Oh
pizza.
man.
It could be as
Okay,
basic
well,
as cheese or as complicated as arugula, brie cheese with braised short rib and kite or whatever people get on that crap on these Christmas
well,
pizzas.
I'm saying pizza mostly because we just made pizza for dinner tonight.
Okay.
And I also love just like Italian style pizza because the dough is so good and it's so versatile and fresh. But what we put on our pizza tonight was really good. So it's gonna get kind of complicated, I guess.
Okay.
And I think I feel like you should be able to have like any kind of pizza. I think any kind of pizza would be good. But I'll say this for just based on what we had tonight. There was sun-dried tomato pesto,
Oh,
prosciutto, mozzarella, mushrooms, peppers, and then we have like shaved Brussels sprouts on top, which sounds bad, but it's very good because they get all like crispy on top when you put it in the oven, and it's a really good flavor. And then
wow. We will get that. Lord have mercy. Wow. Okay.
and then I would say I'm a huge dessert person, so I'll definitely go with ice cream.
Okay.
Um, and we got this gelato last night that was chocolate peanut butter pretzel,
Oh,
and that was unreal. Yeah.
that might put Reese's out of business. Lord have mercy.
Mhm.
Oh man, chocolate peanut. I don't even like pretzels like that, but I would eat that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like when you get pretzels on the plane, such a downer, but in ice cream, amazing.
Got that salt, mix it in with the
And the crunch. Yeah.
oh Ben and Jerry. Why did it take Lindsay coming on this show like for this ice cream to be discovered? What is y'all doing over there? You guys are just slackers. Unbelievable. Lord have mercy. I need to go. I see, I don't even know. I think I'm gonna have to go get some chocolate ice cream, some Reese's ice cream, and go
Mm.
find some like pretzels and just
Yeah,
make
you
it
can mix all
myself.
together.
Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. We got to go back to this pizza because I ate, had a nice meal, but oh my gosh, like what? So are you guys part-time chefs when you aren't running circles? Um
No, I think we just eat a lot.
that is some Food Network quality. You don't get that at most restaurants. Maybe because I live here in America and I've been to pizza places I haven't seen that. You get the see, I'm not a big Brussels sprouts brother myself, even though I have had them glazed with bacon. That's kind of how I need something. But that prosciutto, that salty, gets mixed in with the bitterness of the Brussels sprout. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
And
You
there's veggies on it. Like it's healthy.
nobody cares about that. But everything else, yeah, nobody cares about the veggies. It's just there for presentation, and stuff like that. You didn't have to health it up like that. We don't care about that. Oh gosh. And so is all of this like scratch made, like this sun-dried tomato pesto?
No, we didn't make that.
That's okay.
There's an Italian deli near us, and so that's where it's at. We got the pesto from there, and the crust is really good. And the prosciutto's from there. So yeah, we just went all out.
I'm moving. If I find out that Canada know how to fry chicken, I'm moving to Canada. Like if I find out that they can make a nice down home 2-piece and a biscuit, yes, listen, I'm changing residencies because because I'm like, what is y'all doing? What are you guys cooking up there? I'm like, listen, that is chef status. I don't care what you say. Like, listen, it's just 800 runners. I guess you guys do it better. I guess you guys do it better. But man, like I just ate and I just vision that. Like I had just envisioned all of that coming together. So I'm a little mad now because nobody in Orlando is doing that. So that's that's a now I'm going through it because I want that pizza. But man, you guys definitely ate good tonight. I can definitely tell.
Yep.
Okay, Adele. I have to ask this though. So let's just say you and Adele are rolling down the red carpet. What Adele song are they playing when you walk down and stand in front of all the cameras?
Ooh.
That would be funny if you just like "Hello from the other side"
Yeah.
and you're like waving to all like your track fans and stuff like that.
And then I also don't want it to be too depressing.
That's true. Hello, it's me. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. We just
I
talked
do
about.
like the some of her old ones, like Chasing Pavement, maybe.
Okay, okay. Never heard of "Chasing the Sidewalk," but I don't know if
You
I have
would,
heard
yeah,
of it.
you would know when you hear it. You would
That's
know it.
probably true.
But
That's probably
yeah.
true. I've heard one of my earliest, memories of her music was "Rolling in the Deep."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that was a good one.
I'm like, what church does she go to? Because that was such a incredible thing. I can definitely see that. Adele, we got to make that happen. We have 364 days before the Grammys air again, so we definitely have to get on that. But Lindsey, you are a certified baller. You're a veteran of Canada, literally one of the most consistency, in my opinion, just from an outsider's point of view, is one of the hardest things to um, do and be in track and field. But you have mastered being consistent in the 800. You made the world team in 2017, 2019. Then again, last year, you made the Olympic team. And it's not as if you're getting knocked out, in the first round or whatever the case might be. You've proven that you belong there, and you're still getting faster. So my opening question to you is, what is your method of making sure that you're consistently awesome every time you hit the track?
Yeah, I think it's really comes down to long-term consistent training. With I've had the same coach all through university and then post collegiately. So I've been working with her. I think this is our 12th season together. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think, yeah, that has been a huge part of how I've been able to stay in the sport for so long and be that consistent because we have like a similar environment. I have a really good training group. And it's kind of just getting those years under my belt. And I would say sometimes too consistent to the point where it's a bit frustrating, running like about the same time every single time. But yeah, I think mostly that training environment and then just building off each year. So trying to tweak things just a tiny bit so that we keep things like exciting and new and taking advantage of opportunities and just getting racing experience whenever we can.
Obviously, the women's 800 is crazy right now. Um, you are a 159 runner, and you pretty much have to be a 159 runner to keep pace with what's going on. From a vantage point of somebody who is the pride of Canada when it comes to the middle distance, how exciting is it that you're a part of the evolution of this race in the women's 800?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. And I think especially last year, I felt that I got some more unique opportunities like in the diamond leagues that I was really able to be a part of that. Whereas in the past, I think I'd always be trying to get into those high level meets, but not quite get in. So then you felt a little bit separated from that. But last year I feel like was really a turning point where I was getting those opportunities and that was super fun and exciting. And I think just kind of like carried momentum into those championship races.
How do you take that momentum and confidence that you gained last year into this year, especially headed into Budapest, where it's going to be pretty lit, especially the season so late. It's so weird. It was like
Mhm.
that is such a crazy stretch. And I know I'm going off topic, but just spitball. You got COVID, then the Olympics, then less than a year you have Worlds, and
Mhm.
now you have Worlds again, but delayed, and then back to the Olympics, and then I think there's an off year in 2025.
Yeah.
It's like crazy to me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been interesting to say the least. But I think like from Tokyo and then moving into last year where there were so many opportunities to make national teams for us, like I went to World Indoors in March and then World Championships and then Commonwealth Games right after World Championships. That was kind of like a post-COVID like overload of like championship races, and then now we're kind of like back into what feels more comfortable, and I don't mind it being a little bit later because I feel like I can work a little bit more on my base and take my time to get into this season. And I think just having the experience of past world championships like Doha in 2019 was at the end of September. So we really had to adapt our season around that too. And so I think that having that experience and that being like later than ever, now moving into like end of August being world championships this year, is just another kind of adaptation that we have to make, but it isn't like a huge adaptation, I would say. Like I think I felt that world championships last year were really early, like they came up really quickly, and so I think this just gives more time for more potentially like high level meets like diamond leagues and just feeling more prepared and getting those high level races in, because that's where the best practice comes for championship races, because you're in a place where you really have to worry about getting out hard and tactics, and everyone is right there. We all can run basically the same time, so it's really about positioning and practicing for what that will be like for like world championships and doing rounds and that kind of thing.
If I'm not mistaken, you're in school based on LinkedIn. I first and foremost want to say, may the good Lord bless you and keep you, because you couldn't pay me to go back to school. Like literally, it would have to be free with like, I don't even play sports, but I still want an NIL deal just to go back. That's kind of where I am. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what are your aspirations, and why did you decide to head back to you guys in Canada say university, so let's just
Yeah.
keep it. So what made you go back to university?
So I had applied, I'm doing my master's in public health.
Okay.
And I had applied kind of pre-COVID, well, yeah, pre-COVID, so in 2019 to start like fall 2020. And then when COVID happened, and the Olympics were postponed, then I deferred because as part of this program, there's a practicum component in the summer. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to really focus on the practicum, and also obviously Tokyo, and didn't want to have to worry about balancing that during the Olympics. So I deferred to fall 2021. And so I think and then part of the reason I had applied for it was I was in a job that was temporary, and I wasn't quite sure. And in Canada, the sponsorship opportunities are not as good. So you kind of have to have a part-time job to survive, especially living in Vancouver. But so yeah, I didn't know if I was going to be continued in my current job. But then over COVID, I got a permanent position at the university. So then I was like, well, I guess I'll just start school, see if work will let me keep my job and maybe work part-time and then continue training. So that's what I did last year. And I was like, I don't really know how this is going to go. But it worked out, and like my work is amazing and supportive. And I did my practicum last summer around world championships, and I'm done school in April. So I'm just trying to kind of push through, yeah, and finish and then see what happens after that. I think I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with it yet. It is pretty broad still, being in public health, but I think I just really wanted to do it just to have a master's and set myself up for something maybe better in the future. But I'm also really liking my current job right now too. So I'm working at SFU in the athletics department as an academic advisor. So that's super fun because I just get to work with student athletes. And so it's pretty rewarding. And then I think in the future, maybe I'll figure out what I want to do with the public health stuff. But overall, I feel like with any career I have, I do feel like I have a passion in trying to make a difference. And I really enjoy health promotion and looking at like program planning and evaluation in communities. And so I think there's a way to kind of like build my athletic career with my public health career in the future.
Honestly, you seem like a really nice person and that you wouldn't do this, but the way that you can get like students to be motivated, since you are like a big deal in Canadian running, I would get pictures of myself at the Olympics and at Worlds with like all thousands of people, and I would just look at the kids and be like, listen, do you want to be like me? Like, yes. Okay, well then do your work. Then you get to this level. Like, do you realize like you have so much swag and flexibility and like street cred, like balling out here in the 800s. Like, listen, you're not gonna be as fast as me if you're not studying and stuff like that. So I'm just saying that's a good pitch. I'm gonna ask this before we get to the off track stuff, and later on the episode we will get back to what you were mentioning, is specifically about finding balance. You did something pretty cool, you and your husband. You, I believe, is Breakfast Club of Canada. And it's so funny to hear, not funny, haha, but just interesting to hear, you're still looking for what you want to do. But I watched a video and prep for this, and it sounds like that's what you are passionate about. Like food insecurity, making sure. Now, granted, I majored in journalism, minor in creative writing. Well, actually, I did cover the College for Health and Public Affairs, but I don't remember anything. So I'm just going to go back to my original statement. I don't know anything specifically about the nuances of what you are doing, but it sounds like that's in the video. It sounded like that is something that you're really passionate about, making sure that people have equal opportunity and equality and access to the proper foods, and then have the education behind it to know what they're eating. What was that experience like, hanging with the Breakfast Club of Canada? And is that something that you think you can explore in the future? Because it sounds like there's two things. It sounds like we should give you your honorary doctorate, because it would be so cool to call you Dr. Butterworth. Like, that would be so epic. Like, you're running the 800s, like, yes, that's Dr. Lindsey Butterworth coming down the home stretch for the
I don't
gold
know
medal.
if I can survive more school.
But that's why I say honorary.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Listen,
I'm
Taylor
okay with
Swift.
that.
Yeah, Taylor Swift has an honorary doctorate, and I don't think well, I don't know if she went to college or not. But still, you can call her Dr. Swift. There's no cooler name than Dr. Butterworth. Like, literally, there's Dr. Buttersworth, but then there's like the more official Dr. Butterworth. So yeah, but anyway, back to the question. It just sounds that's something that you're really, really passionate about in the field that you're in.
Yeah, I think we reached out to Breakfast Club of Canada because that was something that we are passionate about, and that we wanted to be able to use our platform and our kind of athletic career as a way to promote a cause like Breakfast Club of Canada, because that's something that we think is super meaningful. And we were also feeling like we just were getting caught up in like, oh, like in order to get sponsorship, like you have to promote yourself like shamelessly on social media. And that's just something that I've never been good at, and I don't fully like agree with. And I would rather put my energy towards something that is super meaningful to me and to other people, like providing kids with breakfast, and supporting a program like Breakfast Club of Canada. And I wish we could do more with them. It was super fun. Before Tokyo, we did like a little fundraiser, and Justin, my husband, got shirts made because we call ourselves Just Butter, like Justin and then Butterworth. And so
Just butter. Oh man, I like that. Oh
yeah, so we made shirts and we just sold them to like our friends and family, and then donated everything to Breakfast Club of Canada, and it ended up being like over $2,000 that we donated, and
wow.
it was just from like selling shirts to our friends and family. Like we didn't think that it was going to be that big, but it's things like that that I feel very fulfilled doing, rather than like, oh, like check out me doing this run that nobody cares about.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but you can win that Canadian Nobel Peace Prize. I'm sure they have a something similar to it. But that's really cool. I mean, I went to the public school system. I'm guessing they have a Whole Foods in Canada.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Whole Foods, and part of this was none of this was accessible to me because we couldn't afford it, growing
Yeah.
up and stuff like that. But two, like I had no idea what it was. Like, they would feed us, dollar store stuff. So you had your oatmeal cream pies, you had your cosmic brownies, you had your chips, you had your we really didn't have money because we had a barrel and it had juice in it, and it wasn't fruit punch, it was just red, blue, orange, and it was just high sugar contents and stuff like that. So as I got older, really it was college, and I'm still learning, to be honest with you. I used to drink stuff that people were like, oh, this is healthy, but then like you really dive into the nuances, it's like, oh boy, no wonder I'm tired all the time. And stuff like that. So I think that's really cool, especially with kids at a young age, getting a chance to, okay, this is the importance of this food, this is how you fuel your body for excellence. So that's actually really cool that you guys did that.
Yeah,
that's actually really dope.
yeah, like I said, I wish we could do more. I think like since I've been in school and working, we haven't had as much time as I'd like to really get more involved with them. But yeah, I think it's also like the bigger issues of like how things are marketed or the cost of different foods.
Yeah.
Like it's so often that less healthy foods are more expensive, are less expensive and more accessible. So that I think is a big problem, and something that I was really interested in undergrad, and then that kind of like carried through to my master's now.
Wow. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to one day you're gonna win a gold medal, and then you're just gonna say, I want to give a shout out to the Breakfast Club of Canada, and they're going to go viral. It is going to be lit. What are 3 things that people do not know about the legend that is Mrs. Lindsey Butterworth?
I think a lot of people actually don't know that I am in school, maybe.
Okay. That's one.
That's one.
They don't have to be serious. They could be just any fun fact. 3 fun facts.
I don't know why this is always like my go-to like fun fact. It's not really that fun, but I'm left-handed, which isn't as common, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
And maybe like I've never lived outside, like I've never lived away from Vancouver before.
Really?
I grew up in North Vancouver, and I went to school like in Burnaby, which is like 20 minutes from Vancouver, and I've lived there ever since. So yeah.
What is Vancouver like?
It is a beautiful place. It's like a combination of like there's mountains, and then the ocean is right there, and downtown Vancouver is right on the water, and has a beautiful park like in the middle of it, which is like huge. Like you can around the park there's a path, and it's like 10K around.
Oh,
um
oh
yeah,
wow.
and it is very beautiful. So it's very outdoorsy.
Okay.
And I think generally people are like very active here. It rains a lot, but it's very mild, so we don't get a lot of snow, which people are surprised about, especially when we go down to the US. There people are always like, oh, you're from Canada, like it must be so cold. And we're like in Seattle, and it's like it's the same weather as here.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's pretty like comparable to Seattle climate. Um, yeah, and summers are like really beautiful. It doesn't get super hot. It probably will get to like 30 degrees at most Celsius, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, don't
Maybe
listen. I majored in journalism,
85.
not math. Stop. Are you
80?
kidding me?
How hot is it?
85, 85 degrees? It was 85 degrees here in Florida today.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So it's like not hot.
Y'all, lactic acid is moving to Canada. Like, like,
But the rest of Canada, like basically from like Vancouver east, it is like the winters are pretty harsh.
oh boy, I'm tripping on. So let me see. So let's do 30
You
degrees
should Google
Celsius.
Stanley Park.
30 degrees Celsius is 86 Fahrenheit. This is
Oh
stupid.
wow, that's pretty close.
Oh my gosh, that was very close. So let's just say you got it. So Stanley Park, Vancouver. So I'm looking it up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so it's a gem.
This is a screensaver. Let me take a picture of this.
What happened?
Goodness.
I don't even know what the
This is
photo.
this is like wow. No wonder
Yeah.
Hallmark shoots all those movies up there in Vancouver and pretends like it's the United States. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. I will go to the park like every day.
Yeah.
Have you ever, so is it weird like coming down to the United States and then you see what we have to offer and then like you go back to Narnia, basically, which is Vancouver?
I feel like whenever we go, we do still find a gem. Like we will usually like if we race on a Saturday, then we usually have to find somewhere to do our long run on Sunday, which for an 800-meter runner, our long run is like an hour. But it's still like a decent distance. So we try and find somewhere that we can run an hour, and usually like to find somewhere that's like soft surface on a trail. And like I would say 85% of the time we find like a good spot for a long run.
What's been your favorite spot here in the States so far? Don't come down here to Florida. You won't make it. I'm just telling you. It's just you will, when you touch down at OIA, I guarantee you will walk out and then walk back in and see if you could book a flight back to Vancouver. It is like I said, 85 degrees. Like when it gets 85, like sometimes we put on long sleeves in the
Oh
fall,
my God.
because usually like in the summers it's between 95 and 102 here with
Yeah, we
100%
would not
humidity.
last.
So
My first national team actually was Pan Am Juniors in Miramar,
Miramar, yep.
Florida, in July.
Oh boy, yeah, they don't
So
like
that
y'all.
was hot and humid. It's humid, right?
It's listen. People think I'm like joking, but I walk outside, take the trash, put the trash back up at 7:30 in the morning, and I smell like funky cold Medina because it's just you sweat. Like that's just, I prefer the humidity instead of dry heat, because with dry heat you can never tell if you're hot and that's more dangerous.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
but listen, I can't breathe out here. But back, yeah, ooh, bless your heart for going to Miramar. I know you don't want to do that again. Um,
Yeah.
but what's been your favorite spot down here in the States?
Um, I feel like hmm.
That's bad. She can't even think of one. That
No,
America, we got
I
some
think
work to do.
no, I think I'm taking a while to think because I like a couple different spots, but I also feel like um whenever we come for like track trips, there's usually like weird, like random places that we'll go to that you wouldn't really like come to visit if you were on a vacation. And then like in addition to that, we're also like never there for very long. So I feel
That's
like we
fair.
don't get to like really experience the place that we're in because we're either just like sitting in our hotel room. We call it like hibernating before a race, where we just lie around and hibernate for like a day. Um, so, but I think I really like San Francisco.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful, yeah.
yeah, and I like Seattle, but I think that's just because like I've spent so much time there and it feels like closest to home.
Right.
But I also really like Boston, and I've been
Yeah.
there a couple times. And for racing, and then New Balance headquarters is there.
Hmm.
And so I always feel like very well taken care of there. And because we've been so many times, even though they've been short trips, like I think there's different spots that we know of now, and I like Boston more for like the city itself, and like there's a lot of places to eat and like cool coffee shops, and it has like a lot of character, which I like.
You did something really interesting, um, and pretty cool during the pandemic. I saw a video of it on Instagram. Um, Obviously, COVID is what's going on, and the weight rooms were closed.
No, you
And
saw the video.
and so I don't know how big your house is, but I went and bought some biofreeze because my neck hurt after that first squat. So you had your now husband on your back. Did you know that you almost broke his neck? Like, was that just a bonus? Because I felt that. I felt that. I saw that neck go
Yeah.
this way. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, what is this? It's like, you're super strong, but like you exploded out of that spot, those blocks, like you were coming out of blocks in 100. And I saw that neck go the wrong way. I said, bless his heart. Bless his heart. Oh man.
I think that was the time in the pandemic where we were like definitely losing it a bit. Um, and I think everyone had that time. Um, but yeah, I didn't know that, well, I heard it. I heard
Oh,
his head, his skull like smash into the ceiling. But he
oh.
seemed okay. And so we just kept going, and then he just kind of like he adapted. But yeah, that we're in a different place now, where we were in a basement suite at the time, and the ceilings were much lower than I expected them to be.
Okay.
But now we have our apartment and we have our weights outside on the patio, so it's a much better setup.
Okay, because I said, it was COVID, so if he got a concussion, it's not like you can go somewhere. Uh,
It wasn't one of our best moments, and my physio shortly after that was like, please do not do that again, because I think my
oh,
squat form was terrible, in
oh,
addition to almost like concussing Justin.
well, man, that's real love right there. That's true love. And he stayed with you, stayed with it. The squat form was fine. Listen, that's
Yeah.
how they just listen. You get a bench, get your booty on the bench, your arms like ropes, and then you did weighted squats. So technically, I think you deserved an extra medal for that. What is your physio talking about? That's hard.
I know.
Like, you had somebody that you love's life was on the line. And granted, you almost killed him, but still, in order to battle back, that was one of the greatest things that I've seen. I was
Yeah,
like,
we like cried laughing at that video for a long time.
I kid you not, I saw it about 6 or 7 times. I'm like, I know
Yeah.
I just did not see or hear what I think I just saw or hear. And you were so determined because you didn't stop. You kept going. You just said, listen, push through the pain. You're all right.
Oh, you're fine. Okay, I got like 5 more reps.
Yeah, take some Robitussin, do some biofreeze or something like that. You're all good. I was just curious about that. When you are not running, when you're not educating our youth and making them do what they're supposed to do, advising them on the principles of education, what is life like? Like, what do you do to relax and get away from everything?
We usually we love coffee, so we go out for coffees a lot. We really like to spend time with our friends and family, so like any chance we get, we're trying to make plans with the people that we want to see, and that will often, with my family at least, include a brewery or two.
Okay.
Yeah, we also like to go on little trips when we have time, like for a weekend or something. So my mom for a while lived on the Sunshine Coast, which is like it's probably like 30 minutes from Vancouver driving to a ferry, and then it's a 40-minute ferry. And so it's just kind of a nice little getaway that's not too far away, but it's super peaceful and beautiful, like right on the coast. So yeah, I think just kind of spending time with the people in our life is very important to us.
I'm trying to. It's so funny. All of the elite middle distance runners and distance runners, you guys have one thing in common. You guys love coffee. It's crazy. I despise it, Lindsay. I hate it.
Really?
I hate it.
You're coffee snobs.
Yeah, yeah. Like my mom loves it. She drinks her coffee black, and I just I don't know. Listen, first of all, I tried it. So let's get it out the way. I tried it. I tried it. I went to Dunkin', got a cup this big, and had to take out a mortgage to pay for it. Because like who knew like all this added crap that you get costs that much money? It's just
Yeah.
like purity stuff. And I'm like, oh God, this would put Santa Claus literally, I think I feel like Dasher. Have you seen Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Christmas thing? No.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it's been a while, but
It's been a while.
yes.
So Dasher was his parent. Dasher was his dad. And I honestly think Dasher drank coffee before having Rudolph because that's why his nose was so red. It was just that sugary crap like that that got him going. Um like I can't do it. Here's the thing, I love coffee shops because they actually have pretty good desserts. Um
Yeah. Well, that's the key. You got to have coffee with a dessert. It's like that's the whole point of it.
what's your go-to dessert?
I am like such a dessert person.
Oh, listen, talk to me. Come on now.
Uh I think with coffee, I love like a good cookie or like a some sort of bar with like chocolate in it. But then sometimes I'm feeling like more like a carrot cake type of thing.
Oh,
But
you got it. I like that. I just
yeah,
had me a piece of carrot cake. Okay,
so
I get
good.
it. Wasn't good, but listen, I a good piece of carrot cake. Y'all don't
Yeah.
understand. A good piece of carrot cake. I'm with that. Will you say some kind of bar like a candy bar, like a maple bar, or like a donut, or
Like like a I don't know how to describe it. Like a dessert bar. Like it would be like kind of like a chocolate oat bar kind of thing. Like like Starbucks has like an oat fudge bar. Be like that kind of thing.
why are you healthicizing it? No, dessert's not health. No, no oats. No, come on now. Like, come on.
It's
Like,
like a
don't.
cookie bar, basically.
But it sounds healthy. That's not good for you. That's not good for you. You're not supposed to have health with desserts. That's why it's dessert. That's why you can't eat it. That's why it's so bad. It's good. Here's the thing I always say. Dessert, I say this about fried chicken. The same thing could be said about dessert. Dessert is bad for the body, but it's good for the soul. And if your soul is good, everything else is going to fall into place. Oh man. So I have to ask this because I have had a serious discussion about this. What makes a good cookie?
I love chocolate and I love peanut butter. So that combination with I do like the texture of oats. I know you're gonna hate on me because oats are healthy, but the texture of the cookie with oats, peanut butter, and chocolate makes it more dense, and it's so good. I think that combination is the best. Or no, that's my final answer.
Okay. She was gonna throw me a bone, and she was like, "Screw this! I'm the 800-meter specialist." No, you ain't nothing. Man, to each his own. It's still not gonna stop me from hating. That just feels like I'm eating oatmeal, like with some chocolate chips in.
Yeah, but it's more filling too. You get like more fulfilled by the
Okay,
cookie.
okay. Um, you see, the only oats in a cookie I've ever eaten is oatmeal raisin.
Mm,
Oh,
not
okay,
a meal raisin person.
okay. That's okay. So
I
maybe
the raisins, that's not dessert.
neither oats, but I mean, I just, but it's okay. It's okay. All through and no filler. You know how we do, no discrimination on this show. Oh man, so we've got carrot cake. I need you to give me, because now I'm trying to just think. So we already got cookies. We got carrot cake. I actually had. Have you ever had a warmed up carrot cake?
Yes. Um, we had that recently actually. At a restaurant. It was so good with like it was had this other like spice
Mm.
to it that was really good and had like icing on top that was kind of melted, but then ice cream as well. It was so
Ooh,
good.
why? What y'all doing? And why can't we have nice things down here? Dang. I had to go to Ohio to have a hot carrot cake. And I don't think they put enough sugar in it, or they use Splenda, or they use like applesauce or some other nonsense, or they could have used oats for all I know. But it wasn't sweet enough. But that
Uh,
glaze, when that glaze is warm, it's like a Krispy Kreme donut when the light comes on.
mm.
It is something different. What is your top three desserts? Somebody asked me
um,
that the other day, and I'm genuinely curious.
that's tough. I think cheesecake is up there.
Okay.
Um I don't know. It's so hard. I think, okay, I really like cookies, but that's like an everyday type of dessert. And I don't think it should be in the top three because the top three should be like the ones that are like most special and like on a special occasion you have and are not overdone. So I'm
That's
gonna
fair.
say cheesecake, brownies, and carrot cake.
Cheesecake is so tricky because you can mess up a cheesecake, but oh my gosh, if you get that cheesecake just right, it is it's like eating heaven, a slice of
Mhm.
heaven. Oh man. Brownies. What kind of brownies? Like,
Mm.
do they have almonds in it? Because there's only two kinds. Do they have almonds in it, or is it just your old school fudge brownie?
I think just old school fudge brownie with some icing.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you to do something because I guarantee you're gonna love it. You're going to love it. And I was gonna say, since I'm challenging you, you can challenge me to something. But I've already done enough challenges, and I don't think I'm gonna like what you have to offer, even though I can.
What it'll be like eat oatmeal for a week.
I That's the problem. I've been eating oatmeal since I was 4. Uh, but it's just like something I have to do is like drinking water. But like oats and cookies, that's like going to the library on Christmas Eve just for the love of books. Um, I want you to make a cookie brownie.
Okay.
It is the best thing you've ever eaten. A
Mm.
you can put the oats crap in there too, and I guarantee you will love it. Even with oats, like if you put oats in the cookie brownie, I might eat it because
Mm. Okay.
I have that fudge to overtake the oat flavor or whatever. Lindsay, I'm telling you, your life will never. I guarantee you, if you make a cookie brownie, you won 156 in a few months. Guarantee. I'll put $2
Wow.
on it.
That is bold. I
I
better do it then.
You need to do it. You need to do it. I guarantee you 156, and you'll cross that line with the first Canadian to run that time in the history of Canada. I guarantee. Guaranteed.
All right.
Yes, it will
I'll get
change
on it
your
right
life.
now.
You should. I'm telling you, it'll make you want to go run. It'll make you get your PhD. That's how much power is in that cookie powder. So I'm not even gonna tell that lie. I was gonna say, I might put a little oats in there, but I'm not even gonna tell that lie. I'll just eat an oatmeal raisin cookie and just accept the fact that if I listen, I may be a little faster if I had oats in there, but it's all good. A couple more quick talks before we wrap this bad boy up with a bow. What is like Canadian television like? Like, are there special shows or series that you guys have that are produced by different networks, or is it still universal to what is being played? Or what is your taste in it?
Our Netflix is definitely different. I can't think off the top of my head, like specifically what is different, but I know we just don't get as much, as many channels or like as much content, I guess, as the US. But I wouldn't say it's like super different because I feel like our, like the premise of shows are like pretty similar. And then there's like a lot of like back and forth and like cross border stuff. But I just know like going into the US, like we get different shows
What's
on
your go-to?
Netflix.
What's your go-to television series?
Um, all time, I would say Friends.
Ooh.
That's like my go-to, but now it's not on Netflix anymore.
Really?
Yeah, for us at least. I don't know if it is still on Netflix in the States, but yeah, that was a bummer when it left. But yeah, I don't know. We've gotten kind of into some like reality TV recently. Like I've watched Selling Sunset.
I've
Is
heard
that
about that.
reality TV? I don't even know.
It's close
Um
enough.
uh and kind of just like trash lately because I feel like we're so busy, and when we have time to watch TV, I just like don't even want to pay attention or care about it. So I I will just put on trash.
Crash is a television series or just the state of the stuff that you watch?
Just the state of this, like
Oh,
the reality TV stuff.
oh, okay.
Um just
Gosh,
like more like mindless things
things.
where you don't really have to pay attention or like follow super closely what's happening.
I'm glad I asked because I was about to say, like who stars in that series, but it could be anybody. I, mm, I personally was not a fan of Friends. It was just a little bit too weird
Are
to
you
me.
an Office person?
Are you not an Office person?
I feel like there's a theory, I don't know if I just made this up, but I feel like people who love The Office don't really like Friends, and then people who love Friends like aren't a huge fan of The Office. Like I don't
Oh,
mind The Office, but it's not like my favorite show, but I love Friends.
so I don't really know why. I don't, but here's the thing. I can't give you a reason why I don't like Friends. I do like The Office, but I never compared the two. I can't. There was a show that came out right before Friends called Living Single, with Queen Latifah and some other people, and so it was the prerequisite or whatever people say. It
Mm.
preluded Friends. Friends got the concept from that show, so I like that show better.
Mhm.
And I'm 28, so I should probably be aware of more stuff. But um, The Office is cool. I mean, I like The Office. I'm not the super duper nerd like everybody is. They have quotable things and stuff, but I mean, I like New Girl. There's a show called NBC's The Good Place, which I actually think you would like that show.
Okay, I saw a couple episodes of that, but I never really got into it. But we definitely got into New Girl. That was a good one.
Yes. With The Good Place, the thing I like about it, it ended when it was supposed to, which was sad, and the ending made listen. I try to, pride myself on toughness and stuff, but listen, I had a sinus infection that day when it comes to watching that episode. I was crying. That's how sad it was at the end. Um, but it challenges the mind
Mm.
because the story, that's how great the writing was and great the acting was. Friends. And then we're gonna transition back to our final points. What character would you say you relate to the most? And it's a two-part question because I do ask this question about The Office. What character would you relate to the most? And what Friends character would make a great pet name?
Oh, a pet name?
Yes.
Oh, I think Ross would be a good pet name. Um, I think I relate, maybe in some ways, I think I relate to Rachel because like Justin would say, I'm pretty oblivious with a lot of things. And so I think she has that quality in some ways. But yeah, I guess her.
Ross would be a great name for a golden retriever or a
Yeah, wouldn't that be
lab.
so funny?
Like, Ross, come here. Sit,
Yeah.
Ross. Sit, Ross. Sit, Ross. And I could just see. I would that would trip me up because I could just see Jennifer Aniston, Rachel, just talking to Ross like that. That would trip me all the way up. I actually think a great name would be Phoebe for a cat.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
For a cat. Um,
I
Ross.
think it's very funny. Like we run a lot in a park called Mundy Park, and it's like for some reason, like everyone takes their dog there. And I think it's so funny hearing people call their dogs when they're like human names. Like there's like this one owner and their dog, and the dog's name is Norman. They're like, Norman,
What?
come here. And Norman like just looks like such a Norman and it's like prancing around. Like it's so funny. Or
It's
like
so
Henry.
some of those names trip me up. Like, and that's why we joke. I always ask, or I've been asking, if there was an office character that you would want as a pet. As a pet, the same thing I asked, like, who would you be? And I get these weird answers, but like the two that like because we humanize with the pet name so much, the two that I chose um was David Wallace because it goes by one name. So it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, come here, David Wallace. Like, but you can't break it up. And then the other name would be like Bob Vance of Vance Refrigeration, but all of that like in one sentence because it's just like so human. Like that's
Yeah.
why when you said like Ross, that tripped me up just in my head because I'm like, there's a dog out there that's probably named Ross. Like
Yeah.
it's
Totally.
it's it's just so crazy. Like you're walking down the street and somebody's like, Lindsay, sit, and you're like, what? Who are you talking to? It's like, oh, I'm just talking to the dog. Like it's just like, can we go back to like dog names, like, or just like names that you would, back when our grandparents were living, like in the early 1900s, like Woodrow or Elsie or Margaret or
Yeah.
Mary or something like that. Like old people names, Eugene, Percy,
Mhm.
something like
Mhm.
that. Not names like of 2023, because I'm getting confused. Because like if somebody tells me to do something like that, then I'm looking like, bro, like what? Um, so let's transition to this last part. How do you find balance in all the things that you do and not let it burn you out? Whether it's school, track, and just balance and all of that.
I think it's been like a um definitely like a something that I worked on over the last few years. But I like genuinely enjoy being really busy, like I always have. Even like in high school, I was really used to like going to school and then having like 3 sports practices after school and going from like one practice to the next. And so I think that I really thrive off of that, and I get bored very easily. And so I think that but then like I take on a lot. So I think just like being really mindful and knowing what my priorities are, like I am able to like prioritize what I'm focusing on in the moment, and then kind of like put that to the side and focus on the next thing, and then just keep it kind of organized in that way. Like I know like my focus is training, so that's always going to be first, and then I can manage like school and work kind of on the back burner a little bit. And that's just kind of worked for me since I graduated university, because I didn't really work in university. I was really just like a student athlete. And then kind of over the last few years, I've been able to take on a little bit more each year. And I think the balance is really important, because I believe in really setting myself up for when I'm done with running, because I know that career or the ability to be able to do this isn't going to last forever. And so I feel like it settles me to know that I have something to go to when I'm eventually done with running, or like if I got injured, like I would not function if I had nothing else to do than train.
How and this sport sucks. Yeah, okay. This sport, let me not say that. I'm just playing, y'all. But you know, there can be some difficult times in this sport. But it is clear that you love doing what you do. So the best way to phrase this: when the sport sucks, when it sucks, because it sucks for everybody. I think that's fair to say. How do you maintain the joy, the love, and the passion?
I think like just in general, I love running. It's like very therapeutic for me. And even if I've been really lucky where I haven't had a serious injury really ever that's taken me out for a long time. So my answer might be different if that had happened, knock on wood. But I like running is like my therapy. And so I think just having that as like just like my passion, and being able to go out for a run, like I'm never not happy or not enjoying myself when I'm out for a run. Although obviously things can be hard sometimes, like sometimes you're just not feeling a workout, or you're like not feeling good, or not in shape, or feeling like you're not in shape. I think that's when I kind of lean on my support system, like my coach and my training partners. They definitely help get through those hard times. And then like Justin, since he's in the sport as well and like completely understands what it takes, and is working on his own running goals himself, I think that is also a huge part of it, where we get to like come home and like just talk about our days. And if like training was hard that day, he is like always the positive voice for me, and always has like something good to say, where he can turn it around like in any situation. And then I'm kind of like that for him too. So having that support every day, like all the time. And he like loves running just as much as I do. So that's like our time sometimes where we can just go for a run together. And we don't usually like do workouts or anything together, but to go for an easy run, it's like dedicated time where we like don't have our phones, there's like no distractions, and we just can like talk about our day or talk about how we're doing. And I think that is a huge part of it too.
You have survived the interrogation process of this interview. Now we are on to the harder stuff. This is like this segment is like the dark brew or the cold brew of the episode. It's called Down the Home Stretch. I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions. I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. If I stop
Okay.
and ask you to elaborate on those answers, it does not count against the time. If you do not answer these as fast as you can, please believe me, I don't care. It's all good. Nobody's keeping tabs. All thriller, no filler. That's how we roll on here. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. If there was a food that you had to live with and a food that you could live without for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Live with potatoes. Live without mm, something spicy.
So like peppers or
Yeah, jalapeno peppers.
okay, yes, those are spicy. Um okay, follow-up question on that. What is the best way to make a potato?
I love mashed potatoes.
Okay, that's cool.
But
I'm with
the reason I said potatoes is because there's so many different ways you can eat them.
French fries, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes. I think that's the only way to eat them, to be honest with you. Tots, we can make tater
Yeah,
tots. Um, so yes, I'm
hash
with you.
brown.
Hash browns, listen, preach on it. That's what you do. You can apparently you can if you don't have power, you can use potato to crank up the electricity. Um, so shout out to Thomas Edison or Albert Einstein, one of those good people. Because that's I think where you got it from. All righty, dream location to take a vacation.
Um, Hawaii.
Let's just say they were going to make a movie. Hallmark films in Vancouver. So let's say Hallmark was filming in Vancouver. They were like, you know what? We want to do a movie starring Lindsey Butterworth. Who is the actress that you want to portray your character?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna say Emily Blunt because Justin loves Emily Blunt.
Okay,
He'll
that's
appreciate that one.
he'll appreciate that one. All right. How cool would it be? This is just a low key question. What would it be like if you and Justin won a medal? Would you then consider yourself the power couple of track and field?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know why that was just like on the mind because I think I was watching something about Beyonce and Jay-Z right before here. So just had to do the power couple. Best book that you've read.
I feel like I haven't read a book in a while. That's probably bad to say.
Same here.
I
So
actually can't even remember the last time I read a full book. Oh, actually, I read American Dirt and it was really good. Like before I started school, basically.
okay. What is the number one song that you're listening to before you step out for a race? Your number one pump up song.
Um, Something Avicii.
Okay. Dream concert to attend.
Well, I want to say Adele. I think she'd be really good live. That kind of ties back into the beginning of this.
Yes. So it can't be Adele. We already got Adele. We're gonna hook you up with tickets. She's taking you to the Grammys next year. Adele, do that for me. And sponsor the show too. But go ahead.
Okay, then I'll say Drake.
Oh, the Canadian legend. Yes. Drake sponsor, please sponsor Lindsay. And this show too. That would give
Yeah,
us
that'd
some
be
mad,
great.
that would be some mad hype. All right, just a couple more questions. Last television show that you actually enjoyed that you binge watched.
Um, Probably Selling Sunset, honestly.
Okay. If you had the opportunity to have dinner with anybody that you have looked up to, who would it be?
Oh, that's always such a hard question.
Okay, then we can ask another one. Don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah, pass.
Okay, sounds good. If all right, so let me think of okay. Let's just say somebody was going to narrate a race. Anybody in the world is going to narrate one of your favorite races that you've ever run or will run. Who would you want that person to be?
I think it would be, well, does it have to be someone who actually narrates races?
No, it
Or
could be anybody.
like, I think it'd be really cool if my coach Britt narrated a race of mine.
Why? Why is that?
I don't know. I think it would just be cool.
I was a coach.
Because she'd probably just be like yelling at me to do different things in the race the whole time.
That would be hilarious. And I was
Yeah.
when you said that, I was thinking of that because I was a coach and I would film, my athletes throwing, and I just know what was going through my head.
Yeah.
I would love to hear, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. I think it'd be hilarious.
oh man, that would be funny. All right, if you had to be the guest star on any television show, what show would you be the guest on?
I'd like to be the guest star on Friends.
Okay, you can be Rachel's best friend. You can be her sister.
Yeah.
It can
I think it
definitely
would
be
be a
her.
really fun, like they're all just close and hang out in an apartment. Be pretty chill.
Okay. Three more questions. If you were not a track and field athlete, what other sport would you play?
Soccer.
Ooh, okay. I can see it. You, Christine Sinclair, that kind of crew. Hey, we balling out. We balling out. Just a couple more questions. Naturally, I forgot one because I'm going to skip one. All right, so here we go. If you had the opportunity to be something other than a track and field athlete, any profession, outside of public health, what do you think you would want to go into? Just a fun one.
I think it would be fun to be a professional athlete in another sport.
That's not soccer.
Yeah. In a sport, like, I don't know, if I was a male and I could play in the NHL or something, that would be really cool.
Ooh.
Or like in the NBA, where you like are actually making a living, but like that's your career.
Well, here's the thing. The Raptors need you right now. So they need a point guard. They need, brother Fred VanVleet, he gone. They're trying to trade him. So you can step in, you're tough, you can play defense.
They are going to be disappointed.
I don't think it's any worse than what's going on right now. So I think you're a good. Hey, listen, sign Lindsey, and let's pay our athletes more. Let's give them more notoriety. Let's hook them up a little bit. Last question is the most important question that you're going to answer. Why does kindness matter to you?
Does kindness matter?
Why does it matter to you?
Because if we don't have kindness, then the world is going to be a terrible place to live in.
More so than it already is. That is the truth. So I'm low key. I'm just waiting. There's one day I'm going to ask that question to somebody. Why does kindness matter to you? And they're just going to be like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like, dang, you have survived down the home stretch. You passed it with flying colors, big time ball and shot caller. That's why she's the best. That's why she's coming for everything. Where can people find you and support your journey?
I think on Instagram I'm probably most on. Lindsey Butterworth. That's my handle.
And last question. What can we expect from you this year? How are you rocking? How are you coming out?
I'm going to be training until outdoors, so I haven't really finalized my race schedule yet, but looking at probably April as a opener.
Be sure to tune in. Be sure to check it out. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will catch you next time.